To say this guy was a folk hero during his tenure as one of the toughest smaller weight fighters of all time would be an understatement. When Danny Little Red Lopez was fighting an undercard of major cards, where it was a battle very strong in all the factors, but as a featherweight champion of the world from November 76 to February 1980, Little Red was the man. Now, Danny Lopez was the WBC title holder for those 4 years. Known for his tremendous punching power, in 2003, the Ring magazine rated Little Red at number 26 of the 100 greatest punchers. In 2010, Lopez was inducted into the IBHF, or the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Born in Fort Duchesne, Utah, 5'7", Lopez describes himself as having Native American, Mexican, and European American heritage. He had been moved from one foster home to another, and coming off the Uintah and Uri Indian Reservation in Fort Duchesne, Utah, he finally found a home in Southern Cal. He said that his father was a Mission Indian from Northern California, and that his maternal grandmother was Three Quarters Ute, and that his maternal grandfather was part Irish. He's also a brother of welterweight contender Ernie Lopez. He is married to Bonnie Lopez and has 3 sons, Bronson, Jeremy, and Dylan. Now, he began boxing professionally on May 27, 1971, knocking out Steve Flajole in 1 round in L.A. He won his first 21 fights in a row by knockout and won the longest knockout win streaks ever for the division. During the streak, all but one of his fights were in L.A., a fact which could be credited for his popularity in the area. The only one of those 21 fights to be held outside L.A. took place in Honolulu, where he bet Yushiwakumara Harada by knockout in 3. On January 17, 1974, Genzo Kurosawa became the first person to go the distance with Little Red. Lopez won by a 10-round decision. His next fight, a month later in Mexicali, Mexico, was his first fight abroad. He bet Mimo Rodriguez by a knockout in 9 rounds. Now, people in L.A. were eager to see Lopez and another up-and-coming Los Angelino, Bobby Chacon, square off inside the ring. The fight took place on May 24th, and Lopez was knocked out in the 9th round of a thrilling fight. In his next fight of note, he lost once again by knockout in round 9, this time to Shig Fuyuyama. After losing Otavio Gomez to begin 75, Lopez won in a roll, beginning with a knockout of Chuchu Castilla in 2 rounds. 2 more wins, and he was faced with Ruben Olivares, whom he bet by knockout in 7 rounds after recovering from a first-round knockdown himself. In 76, he bet Sean O'Grady by knockout in 4, Gomez by knockout in 3, and Canadian Art Haffey by knockout in 7. Finally ranked number 1 by the WBC, he traveled to Ghana to challenge world featherweight champion David Cote in front of an estimated crowd of more than 100,000 Cote partisans. He became world champion by outpointing Cote over 15 rounds on November 6. Now, due to all the communication systems having been cut down in Ghana, Lopez could not get his message through to his family. The only learned he was world champion when he picked him up at the airport 1 week later. Now, Lopez won 3 fights in 77, retaining the title once against Jose Torres by a knockout in round 7. He and Cote had a rematch on February 15 of 78 as part of the undercard where Ali-Spinks dethroned Ali of the world heavyweight title. Lopez knocked out his Ghanaian opponent in the 6th round of the rematch, and then he retained the title against Jose De Paula by a knockout in round 6, and Juan Malaveras on the undercard where Ali regained the title from Spinks by a knockout in 2 after recovering from a first-round knockdown himself. On October 21st, he had a fight with Fel Clemente, against whom he retained his world title with a fourth-round DQ in Italy. By the end of 78, there was much talk of a super fight against world junior featherweight champion Wilfredo Gomez, but the bout never materialized. Now, his fight on March 10th, 1979 against Spain's Roberto Castano in Salt Lake City not only marked the first time he defended his world title in his home state, but the first time he fought in his home state as a pro period. He retained the crown with a second-round knockout. On June 17, 1979 at San Antonio, Lopez defeated Mike Ayala with a thrilling 15-round knockout and retained his WBC featherweight title for the 7th time. The exciting bout would be recognized by Ring as his final year for the campaign. Lopez went on to defend the title once more that year, knocking out Jose Caba in 3 rounds. Now, his reign as world champion came to an end on February 2nd, 1980 at the Arizona Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix. He met Salvador Sanchez that day and lost by knockout in round 13 in a one-sided affair. A rematch was fought on June 21st in Las Vegas, and this time around, Lopez was knocked out in the 14th round. He announced his retirement after that fight. In 85, he talked about a comeback, but decided to delay until 92 when he was 40. He lost that bout via TKO. His final record was 42-6 with 39 wins by knockout. In June 2010, Lopez and 12 other boxing personalities were inducted in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So again, the two losses to Sanchez, wins against Caba, Ayala, Castanon, Fel Clemente, Juan Domingo Malvarez, Jose de Paula, David Cote twice, Jose Torres, Jorge Altamirano, Jose Oliveras, Art Haffey, Octavio Gomez, Sean O'Grady, Ruben Oliveras, Antonio Nava, Raul Cruz, and Chucho Garcia. So a very, very strong run of key fights. Now, after boxing, he was the object of various dedications and was heavily active in the autograph signing circuit. He returned to live in Utah full-time, then moved to LA where he worked as a construction worker. Today he lives in Chino Hills, California. Of course, he's also a noted actor in the 89 film Fist of Steel. Inducted in the California Boxing Hall of Fame in 2005 and inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2010. So Little Red Lopez, ladies and gentlemen, always good for a fight, but just like Matthew Franklin and other key fighters in that era, he'd take two to hit three, and boys, he would hit that tree. Now you're probably wondering what that movie is, Fist of Steel. This movie, of all things, it was direct to video. It co-starred Carlos Palomino and Henry Silva, and the movie was directed by Jerry Schaefer. Apart from Palomino, Alexis Arguello, who had done a role, other pro boxers appeared in supporting roles, namely Ruben Castillo, Danny Lopez, and Hernando Muniz. Now, in this movie, there was Palomino's movie acting debut, even though he was on Taxi years before. A terrorist organization based in Hawaii, headed by Shogi, has murdered several of their rivals, including the father of former world boxing champion and Vietnam War veteran Carlos Diaz. The CIA gets involved, recruiting Diaz, who in turn recruits Alex and a group of other former boxers to help fight the terrorists. Diaz then travels to Hawaii to confront the terrorists. According to the LA Times, it's not a potential masterpiece, but Lee Majors made a living playing a bounty guy, so why not? So, like I said, this movie had a little bit of what do you call fist to it. But Little Red Lopez, ladies and gentlemen, to see him in the undercard, that's when you used to have the SuperCards to be 6 or 7 fights. Galindez, Mike Rossman, Lopez, Gomez, Ali's cards always had good fights. But Little Red Lopez, not only big in the States, big in Canada, boys. A very, very dynamite fighter. So that's the story of Danny Little Red Lopez. If you like what you're doing here with our Boxing Inside the Ring podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.